Vault listeners, we have an exclusive offer just for you. Carrie and her team at Kiln, Bozeman would like to offer you a 20% off 6+ month club membership at Kiln, Bozeman. For just you, our Vault listeners, when you go to sign up for membership, all you need to do is mention Kiln BZN, so KILN BZN, to receive this 20% off. Really great deal for Kiln Bozeman. They are now open. They opened in December 2025 and kick off your new year. If you're in the Bozeman area, you listen to the Vault, definitely tap into this really great discount from Carrie and the team at Kiln Bozeman.
Kiln's a boutique co-working space, and it's boutique because it's like all amenities are included, but it's really focused around community. And that's the members, but also the Bozeman community.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
Welcome to The Vault, a Montana-based business podcast where we highlight the people and ideas driving our region forward. I'm your host, Marcel Bruschi.
You're listening to The Vault.
Well, hello. Today joining us on The Vault on the Road is Carrie Stoner with Kiln here, and we're here in Bozeman. We're at a cute little coffee shop. Really happy and excited to be here with you today, Carrie. So thanks for joining The Vault.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Excited.
So we like to start each episode just getting to know our guest a little bit. And we just met.
Yes.
Through Blythe, because she's great and amazing.
Yes.
But tell me a little bit, because you're from Montana. So
I am
just
from Montana.
tell me about that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Ennis. My parents were both educators. So I was actually born in Shelby, which is up on the High Line, for people who are not familiar with Montana. But yeah, so grew up in Ennis. And then when I was in high school, we moved to Charlotte, Montana, which is outside. It's between Bozeman or Missoula and Polson. So did my high school years there and then went to college at U of M, did business, and then lived there for a while, moved to Seattle, came back, and then met my husband and moved during COVID in 2020. So been back in the area, and then we moved back to Ennis a couple years ago.
Okay, so you're in. So it's, how much of your, growing up, what was it like growing up in like the Ennis kind of smaller town areas?
Yeah, I mean, it was really, it's still rural, but it was very rural. Bozeman was small. So the mall was actually like how you knew you were in Bozeman. So between Four Corners and there was nothing.
Okay.
Belgrade was small. But yeah, rural Montana, everyone knows everyone. And when your dad's the principal and...
Oh, he was the principal. Yeah. Okay, because you guys are Class C, right?
It's Class C. Yeah. So my dad is the principal and, coached the football team and head track coach and all that good stuff. So, and he did that all through my educational career. So, and then when we moved to Charlotte, he was the high school principal as well.
Oh, wow. So that probably initiated the move.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then your mom was a teacher.
She was a teacher too.
And what did she teach?
She taught kindergarten in Harrison, and I went to kindergarten in Harrison, and then she was a librarian as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you have siblings?
I have 2 older sisters.
Okay. And you're the baby?
I'm the baby.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because I grew up in Ekalaka. And so I know. So I don't mean to just be like, I've been saying it a lot lately, but I think I'm like, then it helps people be like, oh.
Yeah, we lived in Ekalaka.
What?
For 9 months.
When? Why?
It was right after I was born. My dad got a teaching job there.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're there for a year.
What year? Not to be like...
Oh, 85.
Okay.
So when I was born. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then my dad might remember your dad. I'd have to ask my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was an 87 grad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he was a principal there or what he did. But
gosh,
and then we moved to Ennis.
I'm going to have to go look back through the yearbooks because those are
My sisters would have been in there. Yeah.
Cute. Okay. I'm going to have to go look. Or if your dad was there, like teaching, they're in it, right? Like the faculty. Yeah. And if he's a coach and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's hilarious.
That's really good. Yeah. So I think for people listening that maybe aren't from Montana, right? What is that like growing up for you? Like, what was that upbringing like? Having your parents really involved, like your dad's coaching, he's the principal or superintendent, whatever. He's like running the school. Your mom's an educator. Like they're giving people. Like, what was that like?
I think it's, I think when you're growing up in it, you're pretty annoyed because it's just like your parents knew you were in trouble before you did.
Yeah, I know. The whole town knows before you know what you even did. Yeah. And you're like, oh, good.
And you kind of feel like everyone's watching you because they kind of are. But like looking back on it, it was just a really great source of community. So it was just, you always had someone that you knew and was looking out for you. And I even see that moving back to Ennis, there's a lot of people that are still there. And teachers used to babysit us when we were little. So now they're, my stepdaughter's in their classes. And so it's kind of fun for her too. But it gives you a sense of security because you know the people, the kids and the parents. And, you don't know what you don't know. And so even when I moved to Missoula from having a graduating class of 20 people, I was fine with that. It didn't bother me. And I think it's because we moved when I was in starting high school. And so it was just kind of that adjustment period. But for me, it was always fine. But I think a lot of rural communities, people either don't leave, or when you leave, they want you to come back. And it's totally understandable. You just bring in a different perspective. But yeah, it's just very, I don't want to say like humbling. You just come in at a very different comfort level and just have that community sense. And so that's always what I've looked for, no matter where I've lived, is like, okay, how can I create a community? How do I get involved in the community? And I've just held that through, through college and beyond.
And you went to U of M.
I did.
And I think the community thing is going to come up like when we're talking about Kiln a little bit, which is really exciting. But, you said you went into business. What was that pull for you that you're like, that's what business is the path?
Yeah. I knew I did not want to be a teacher.
Okay. Yeah, you're like, I grew up with it. I know what it entails. I'm good.
I did not want to do that. One of my sisters did. I knew I couldn't do medicine. My dad was also a type 1 diabetic. And so the needles and everything just freaked me out, and they still do. So I knew I couldn't do that. And I was just kind of like, okay, business is broad. So I can do this and then, figure out life's path afterwards. And I just knew I was really good with people. So it just felt natural. So went through business and then...
And U of M has a great business program.
Yeah, they do.
They're always bringing students to things. And I'm like, this is and I see all the stuff they're doing.
Yeah. And it's a college of business now. So it's not just, it's not just like a program at the university. So that, they have a great setup. And so it was fun. It was a good experience.
And normally with business, because I have a business degree too, you have to do like an internship.
Yeah.
Right? Did you guys have, what was that like for you as you got towards junior, senior, you really like building community, or you're in a business program. So what were some of those things you did while in Missoula?
Yeah, I mean, I was in a sorority. So
Oh, you were?
So I joined a sorority my freshman year. And that was a sense of community as well. And then through that experience, I was on the Panhellenic Council, which is kind of like the school board, of the sororities and fraternities. So I did that and got really involved with campus leadership. And so that was kind of part of the community as well. Internships weren't required when I went through school, so it's kind of an option. I was working for Summit Beverage, which is a beer and wine distributor.
Cool.
So got in on the marketing side because I was a management marketing major. And just, I did that. I was working there anyway. So I got to do a different thing in the business, and did that. And then I worked all through college. I worked in restaurants and bars. So I was bartender, restaurant. I was always front of house with people. And so
a people person.
Yeah. And then when I graduated, it was just kind of now what do I do? And found a sales job in hotels and just kind of took off on that hospitality path.
And was that in Missoula?
In Missoula, yeah. Okay. At the DoubleTree, which was Hilton Corporate. So I got really great sales training kind of right out the bat, and then stayed with hotels for about 10 years. But even through that process, with being on boards and being involved in the chamber and the Downtown Association and the Grizzly Scholarship Association, and
which is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I was on that board for almost 11 years, and so was vice president, president-elect. Wow. All through COVID was kind of the last term.
So you've been on these boards, you're involved. Yeah. Give us your take as being a good board member.
Yeah, I think
it's what does that look like? You're on boards, right? Yeah, and I think it's why did you pick those ones?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something to be passionate about. So university, that was an easy one. Once a Grizz, always a Grizz. And so it was the GSA. It's a fun board. So I think it's a good mixture of the people that you're with, kind of the network that you're in and creating. And so that GSA is a very good one. I was on the Jane and Fred Foundation board, which helps kids. It started with kids with cancer. And then it evolved to serious illnesses, and just it puts a lot of strain on families, and financially, how do you help? And so that was a good pull on the heartstrings one. And then, the Chamber of Commerce, that's very involved in the community. My dad had always taught me some people can't give money, but you can always give your time, and time is just as valuable. So I spent my time and then was able to network and find the money. And so that was...
Which is just as good, right?
Yeah.
You're time and I'm getting you money.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Doing Prosperity Night, going to the banquet and doing the events and just kind of throwing yourself in. But yeah, it's just creating that sense of community, that base. And then, how can I help my community grow?
Yeah. And so I love what you said, because I think what I'm saying, it is sense of community, but giving back, right? Because you want your place to be good, but it's not going to be great if people aren't involved in doing those things. So you're in Missoula, you're working for in hospitality.
Yes. Yeah.
What did you like about working in hospitality?
I love it. It's something new every day. You're always meeting new walks of life, and it's, you're meeting people at different points in their life. People come into hotels for all sorts of reasons, right? Celebrations. Sometimes it's hard stuff. Maybe you're going to the hospital, or, you're trying to do memorials or something like that. Or you get a meeting planner who's doing a huge conference, and you get to be a part of their success and, help them throughout that process. And just people that you meet kind of walking through the lobby. So that was the fun part. And then hotels it spreads across everything. So that was also the fun part about networking is it could be a banquet. It could be, like a nonprofit event. It could be a huge conference. It could be, people from all over the country coming in. So it was just really cool, and I liked it.
And fun. And then you mentioned you were out in Seattle. So did you, because you went to U of M and then worked there for a while. And then what drew you to Seattle?
I went to culinary school.
Oh my God. Like, tell us the name, because I'm not as well versed in
it was the International Institute, but when I was in hotels, I was very front of house. I did director of sales, director of catering, like every market segment for sales you could do. And so when I was looking at, okay, how can I be a GM? How can I be a regional, like move up that ladder? Back of house was the only thing I didn't have, right? So it's like managing a restaurant, trying to figure out the food outlets and, back of house banquet. And so it's like, well, I could work in a restaurant for 5 years or do this, or I could just go to culinary school and understand how to do yield management.
Wow. Okay.
And then I know how to cook.
Like, conveniently, I can do all these, like, cooking for a crowd, but
exactly. Yeah. And so then,
what
and then
was that? I mean, how long was it? Like, what were you doing? It
was 2 years. And then while I was going to school, I went back into bartending and working in restaurants. So I was
you kind of had that other front of house hospitality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's, when you're going to school for 6 hours a day, it's how do you kind of make it up on both sides? And so that's what I did. So
in Seattle. So you're in Seattle, you're working, you're going to culinary school. Like, what's a day in the life of going to culinary school like?
Oh gosh, it was early. So I took the bus system everywhere. Parking is a nightmare, and it's just super expensive downtown. That's where the school was right down on the water. And, I'd be up at 4:00 and get on the bus and go downtown and start class about 5:30, 6:00 is when we get in there. Wow. And then would do that until noon, then go work, maybe 5-6 hours, and then go back to culinary school at night and do kind of the same thing and just.
So did you have classes at night, or that was just, oh, wow.
Yeah. Classes at night. It just kind of depended on the schedule. So I was a night owl or early bird and everything. And
what did they teach you? Like, what's the first thing they're like, okay, this is like week one.
Yeah, it's fundamentals. So it's kind of going back to French fundamentals, like the bases. So you're learning mother sauces is what they call it. Okay. So you're learning how to make hollandaise sauce, marinara, and just like how all the sauces build off of that. And just the French techniques is really where it starts. And then you do like pastries. So you learn that area. And then it's like food sanitation. And, you just keep progressing depending on which way you want to do. So if you want to be pastries, you kind of go one route. And then if you want to do more cooking, you go different.
What did you do?
I went cooking.
You did?
Yes. So went the cooking route and learned all about like international and, all about like United States and the different regions and how those foods came together. And my favorite was Indonesian and Asian. So
what did you like about it?
The flavors, just like how clean it is and just different regions and how actually all the like, around the world, like the Silk Road that took spices back and forth. It's just like they all tie in together and they're very similar. So I just like that food.
Yeah. So like you really leaned into that.
I did.
And then you did that for 2 years. You moved out to Seattle.
Yeah.
So Montana girl, we're going to the city. We're going to Seattle. Yeah. You just went by yourself and
loved it.
Did it.
Yeah. Just packed up my car and went out there and found my roommate on Craigslist.
Cool. Okay. And did you guys was that a successful roommate?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, sometimes people have their no, that was not good.
Oh, yeah. Craigslist. It's always dicey. But no, she was great. So yeah, we met and had coffee first. And I lived in Finney Ridge, which was a really cute little area. Yeah. And met people and had friends and went to school and loved it.
So then, you're going through school and you said you're like, I can either work in the back of house of some of these things, or I can just go to culinary school and learn some of this stuff.
Right.
So then was it like you wanted to get back into the like hospitality hotel realm?
Yes.
And then what? So you finished culinary school?
Yep. Yeah, I did. And then I went back into hotels. So I had a hotel job back in Missoula and did it for 6 months and was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just quit. And then there was a sushi restaurant called Sakatumi that was opening
Okay.
in Missoula. And so I was kind of there before they opened. So helped with that process and then worked in a sushi restaurant for a few months.
Wow.
Which was great. And then a recruiter from a tech company called ClassPass would come into the restaurant. Yeah. So
Okay.
they were just starting in Missoula. It was a really small sales team and they just needed someone with sales management experience. And so I interviewed like on a Friday and started on the Tuesday. So took off with ClassPass and that was a wild ride. So we
Tell us about what's ClassPass?
Yeah, so
what'd you do? All of it.
ClassPass is a fitness app. And so, which Montana, like in Missoula, it's really big, but like
it is big in Montana.
Yeah.
Or in Missoula, not the rest of
Yeah. Nationwide, it's huge. Like all in your major cities in all the states. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And so it was, the premise when it originated was to fill excess capacity in fitness classes. Because if you have a class, you can have 30 spots and only 20 fill up. ClassPass could help fill those 10 spots for the membership. So that's where it started. And we grew fast. So we took teams international pretty quickly. I went into Malaysia and was in Malaysia for 3 months and helped open that market.
Had you been abroad prior to that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not to Asia and doing those things. But yeah, I went to Kuala Lumpur. I went to Montreal when we expanded there. And then I had people on my team were kind of all over the world doing that, which was pretty cool. And then when we came back, I helped start the wellness vertical. So it's, a supplement to fitness is wellness. So whether it's like red light therapy, massage therapy, facials, whatever. So we scaled that.
And where did that idea come from? Was that like from their corporate kind of?
Yeah. So, I mean, like when you think of corporate, I was probably like the 120th employee.
Wow.
Our CEO moved to Missoula. And so like your next kind of door to him. And it was very like casual, very open. It was just everyone's trying to figure out what to do. And it's like, okay, how can we grow the footprint? And wellness was just really natural because it's if you get hurt, you have these credits. Basically, it's like, how do we keep numbers on, right? So so we went to wellness vertical and then we were cruising, had teams, East Coast, West Coast, remote, our office in Missoula was the main one for sales, but we had New York and San Francisco and we had an office in London and we're just really kicking it off. And then COVID hit. So we were first unicorn of 2020.
Because you're like, wow, we're doing all these things. But it's like about.
And then 2 months later, COVID. So that changed
What did that do to ClassPass?
It definitely kicked it, right? Like a lot of us were furloughed or laid off, which is really unfortunate. I was furloughed until like July. And then, I was let go, which is totally fine. Understandable. And so, it set it back a little bit, but they got scrappy and then fought through it. And now then they merged with MindBody. And now they just started another entity called Playlist. And so it's just like so much more than fitness and wellness. It's concert tickets, movie tickets.
Oh, it's like an all-in-one kind
co-working
of
space. Yeah, like anything that you can really get into. It's like it's enriching your entire life, just not just your physical. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you're doing that.
Yep.
COVID happened.
Yep. Yeah.
And like, what did you do? Like, what were you?
Yeah.
Because it was a weird time. I look back at that and I'm like, what?
Well, luckily in Missoula, it's wide open spaces in all of Montana. So kept busy and just took advantage of being able to be outside and, just try to make the best of it. I moved in May. And so it was like, well, this is kind of weird, but threw everything into a storage unit and just tried to figure it out. And so then after I was laid off, it was maybe like 2 weeks later, I got a job at the Hilton Garden in Bozeman. And so just worked there through COVID. And then.
So you moved?
Yeah, I had moved in that process.
Okay.
Yeah. So, had moved and then was in Bozeman and working in hotels and then got picked up by a company called Brazen, which is like an HR recruiting tool.
Cool.
Which was awesome. And then I got a call from Instacart and it was kind of one of those things. Yeah. Where you're like, whoa, I'm not turning this down, And so.
How did they call? Like, wait. I haven't used it yet, even though I'm like, I need to get with it and be like, with the 21st century. Cause I'm like, as much as I love grocery shopping, I kind of do like it. But anyways, all that to say, what do you mean they just called you out of the blue? You're like, oh, Instacart just called me. No big deal. So like, of course I went.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I mean, you make your networks and there was a recruiter that I knew. And when I was furloughed, she was like, when a job comes up that I think you'll be a great fit for, I'll give you a call. And so she did. And so it was scaling a sales team out of a call center, which is pretty wild. If people don't know about call centers, it's call center. Every time you call in for customer support, it's a center of people. Sometimes they're offshore and sometimes they're based out of the office. So my team was in Atlanta. And during COVID, Instacart didn't want to lay people off like field and like field sales and all those offices. And so, it was like, okay, how can we help support the business? And so online, the marketing and like online advertising through the app was just kind of starting. And so they're like, okay, well, use these guys as like SDRs, which is a sales development representative, to help the ad team, the marketing team, sales team, like kind of make that process move faster. So instead of getting really inundated by like leads and things that were coming in that went through that team and then pass it off to the sales team. So I came in and actually like made the structure. So restructured it and had us, I was a pilot. So that happens a lot in tech companies and other companies where you try to test it to see how long. And in about 4 months, we took it from a pilot to like a business unit.
Wow.
Which was awesome.
How did you know what to do? Like, how did you know how to do any of that to take it from like, here's your little test?
Yeah.
Now they're using it as a business unit for Instacart.
Yeah. I think it's just having that sales process. So it's like, okay, how do we build the foundation? Hotel salespeople are scrappy. So you kind of have to get, it's like boots on the ground, grassroots. How do you?
Yeah. Like, tell me what that means. So hotel people are
Yeah.
scrappy.
Yeah. I think it's, it's salespeople. You have all of these market segments and you have to figure out how to tap into it. But you're also going against 20 other properties, right? So it's like, how do you draw them in? How do you kind of create that loyalty? And so it's, if you're in the university, you're going to every single university department and being like, hey, do you need hotel rooms? Do you need meeting space? Like, how can we kind of partner together? Hospitals, the same thing, corporate rates, corporate structure. So it's, you just constantly have to be thinking about, okay, how do I recreate the wheel? And I mean, I don't really know how I knew how to do it. I just did it. So it was kind of one of those, where it's like, okay, what structure do we need? How do we scale this? And ClassPass was definitely an asset from going from like a team of 20 to like 150,
and
including
kind of
like all
startup.
Your managers. Yeah.
I mean, tech space, I guess, not startup.
Yeah. Well, no, ClassPass was a startup. Instacart was still considered a startup.
They are for a while, longer than people realize.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, there's some big companies that I'm like, still they're technically like a startup.
Yeah, totally. Until you go public. And then I got to go public with Instacart and that was really cool. It's kind of like surreal. You're like,
because you were doing that in 2020.
Yeah. 2021. And then was it 2022, 23? And everyone's like remote. So it's kind of a different experience, but it was just really cool to be a part of that. And so, yeah, it's just sweet. And so it's just a different, you have a different experience with it. And it's cool to be able to scale something and be like, oh, I actually like helped contribute to this.
Like I
portion.
made that business unit.
Yeah, exactly. Or kind of like the wellness vertical. Like that was cool because you're kind of on the front line and then building that out. So it was pretty sweet.
So community, I'm sensing you like, well, community, obviously we've talked, but like building things too.
Yeah, I do.
Like you're a builder.
I really I like the unknown and being like, okay, how do we do this? It's fun. I think sometimes in corporate, like Hilton, for very structured, like this is what you do. You don't really go outside the box very much as far as policies, procedures, like everything is very much aligned because it's global company. It's huge. Yeah. So it was fun to like make those policies and make that happen for like another company. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long were you with Instacart? Like, did you kind of stay in that because you built the business unit?
Yep.
And then you're kind of operating in it. What other things did you get to do while you were there?
Yeah. So when we made it.
Because you were based just here, right?
I was in Montana. Yep.
And where were you working out of? Let's talk about that.
I was working in my house, which is why Kiln is like such a cool thing and kind of brought me here. But yeah, my husband and I both worked remote from home and just did that for a while. So I was with Instacart for almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I had my son and, life changes and I didn't want to be in Atlanta all the time. And
because you would travel back.
Yeah. And then just having a kiddo and just wanted to be at home and be around him more. And I was able to do that. So.
And how'd you meet your husband?
We met online, the new age dating scene. Yeah, we met online and I was living in Missoula and he was living in Harrison, which is a very, very small town out like in between Ennis and Bozeman.
Montana guy then?
What's that?
Is he in Montana?
No, he's from Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
His family has property outside of Bozeman.
Fine.
So that's what brought him here. But yeah, so we met and then that was part of the reason why I was moving to Bozeman is, long distance is, hard enough. And then it was like, okay, I'll move to Bozeman because that's closer, but it's not, I'm not living in Harrison. Yeah. So then,
no.
Then we made it work. And then I ended up moving to Harrison anyway.
Because that's where you guys are now, right?
We're in Ennis.
Or Ennis.
Yeah. Back in Ennis. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing that. You have your cute little kiddo.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I need something different. So what was that different for you? Like, what was that thing? And two, like, how long did that take you to get to that decision to know, right? Because you had a baby.
Yep.
And how long did it?
Yeah.
Like, what was that thought process like of knowing like it's time for something different?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so after I had my son, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety, like really quickly afterwards. So I think that was just a struggle to kind of get through that. Luckily, tech companies have really good parental leave, most of them. So I had 7 months with my kiddo.
Wow.
And
That's
then,
amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Because Montana doesn't.
No, I know it's hard. And that's a whole different
topic.
It's a whole different topic.
Of the US.
Yeah, exactly. So then, I went back into work, and the beauty and kind of the beast of tech companies is so much changes in 7 months. It's almost like a brand new company you're coming into, and you're just really expected to pick up where you left off and just run with it. And I just had a really hard time with that. So it was just more of, okay, I don't want to be gone from my son. I'm dealing with all these other things where when I'm away from him, I have a ton of anxiety, and it's just kind of like you get in your head, you're not sleeping. And then it was like, okay, we need to make a change. So I'm not far away from him and could do those things. And so that's really what prompted it. And then Kiln came into play. The recruiter just found me kind of at the right time. So I was transitioning out, had been home for a couple months, and was like, okay, I can't.
Yeah,
I need
something.
to do something. Yeah, and it was not really like starting the process of looking, and then they reached out, and I was like, this seems pretty cool. It's back in hospitality and the community base of it. So that's what brought me to Kiln.
And so you moved to Ennis.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in Ennis, you're doing this, and then Kiln. Okay, I love that all these people just call you. They're like, hi, Carrie, do you want to work for us? They're like not even in market because Kiln's not here. So tell us about like Kiln, like what you guys are doing, but just a little bit of history for those that are like, what's Kiln?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Kiln's a boutique co-working space. And so I say boutique because there's different levels. So there's like Regis, who is very almost like traditional lease space. So it's, you kind of come in, you have your office or your cubicle area and you're working and, you're bringing everything in yourself kind of stuff. Then you have like WeWork concepts. So if people are familiar with that, it's kind of a, kind of trendy, techie kind of hip thing. Like that's where a lot of tech companies kind of went into, or WeWork spaces. Instacart had a WeWork space in Atlanta, so definitely worked out of that.
So you were like kind of exposed to these co-working spaces.
Yeah. Yep. And we were in Montreal. We had a co-working space. And so I knew of the concept. And then Kiln is actually based out of Utah. That's where it started. Bozeman will be the 21st location.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's primarily mountains to Texas to the west. So that's where Kilns are located right now. And it's boutique because it's like all amenities are included, but it's really focused around community. And that's the members, but also the Bozeman community. So it's, all the space that we'll have is bookable by the public and then also by our members. So members, whether you're a small business or, you're in a certain niche, like an insurance market or like a certain tech company, you get that exposure to the members, but then you can also get that exposure to the public. So,
which is nice because then you're bringing in other people that maybe wouldn't be in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they maybe don't need a desk, but they're here for an event or something else.
Exactly. Yeah, and of course, like it's exposure. That's always great.
Yeah.
But we're really focused on the membership. So every week we'll at least have like one membership programming event, which we take on. We do like mid-morning, mid-afternoon snacks. So it's like that very tech kind of feeling. And for people who haven't worked in tech, it's all about the snacks. It's all about professional development. Like, what am I getting out of this? How do I grow? And so the companies, businesses get this without having to do it themselves, which takes a lot of pressure off of them to create like a really great culture. Like that's what we're doing for them.
And they're startups, right? Or they're smaller. So they're like, they don't have the resource. Maybe some of them do, but some maybe don't have the resources to cultivate some of those things that you guys will be able to do.
Exactly. And it's just, I've been to some of the different locations and talking to the members, and they're like, I actually get to do my job because I don't have to try to figure out how to get the snacks. Like the snacks are here.
Like they're here. I don't have to worry about the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Like no coffee. Like we take care of it. We'll have a cafe in there. So you really don't even have to leave the space if you don't want to. And it's just the vibe is really cool. So it's modern, it's inviting. It's like an exciting place to be in, good energy. And then it's just like you get to bring people into a nice space. So it's like very professional.
Meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever.
And we provide all the furniture and we provide all of the amenities and everything else. It's very like bright and green and natural, and like everything is very thoughtful, like down to the light bulbs.
Which is important. So because you guys are under construction,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So did they recruited you?
Yeah.
So you'll be running the Bozeman.
Yep, I'll be
location.
the director. Yeah.
You're the director of Kiln and Kiln Bozeman.
Kiln Bozeman, yeah.
Okay, cute. Yeah. Okay, we got it. But did they fly you out to go see some of the other locations just so you could get a taste?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I went to the Lehigh location in Utah, which was the first one. And then I've been to the Park City office. And I've been to the Portland office. So got to see those ones. Yeah, they're really cool. And then the other cool thing is when you're a member of Kiln, you can go to any of the Kiln locations. So you get access to all of those spaces. And it's nothing additional. So that's just part of your membership, whether it's a club membership, which is kind of like coffee shop or some people call them hot seats, all the way up to, you know, a 22 desk office. So it doesn't matter what level of membership you are.
And they can just, have it. So what's the difference, do you think, like even decor wise, are they all pretty similar, or is this one going to have more of like that Bozeman
that's a great
feel?
question. We have an interior design team, and so they've designed all the locations. So there are some similarities, but like this will be Bozeman. So like when you walk in, it's going to kind of be like a black and white vibe with like a pops of color. So like
I love
the greens and just like blues, tans, you know, very natural. Yeah. And it's like down to the tile, it's Spanish tile. And, you know, it's just really intentional spaces that they have. And so they're similar, but they're different, like based on where you are. So it's pretty cool. Some have golf simulators. Some have,
my gosh,
like salt rock walls. Some have, you know, all these different things. We won't have either of those, but
it's okay. You can go to the other locations.
Totally. Yeah. And
get
that. Yeah. You know, we have a podcast room. We have a theater.
Which is so nice.
Yeah.
For your Bozeman community.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, and other people, like, I don't know, I'm traveling through, you know, so like next time I'm traveling through, I can just use the studio instead.
And, you know, and external companies can come in and use the podcast room too, right? They can come in and do presentations and invite the members and invite the public. And so it's just very much just like a cool space. We'll have a wellness room where we can bring in wellness providers and like a refresh room where we have the massage chair and like come hang out and just zone, like phone booths, meeting space. Like there's just all sorts of cool stuff in there.
A lot. And so will you be just a team of you, or are there others on your team that you'll have? Yeah,
we'll have 2 others. So it'll be a member experience manager. So they're the ones who are doing programming and working with external people and, you know, down to the snacks and like the coffee and doing that kind of stuff. And then we'll have a success manager, which is more so sales. So they'll be the ones meeting with members coming in, selling space. You know, getting people on board and then just taking care of their membership throughout
their
the span
life
of
cycle.
it.
Because they can be there as long or as short as they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like they're not capped at anything.
No. And then we actually do short-term agreements. We don't do long-term. We go up to 18 months just because life changes, business change.
It does.
Yeah. You know,
or maybe they're growing and they need a bigger room, right?
Yep. Need more space, or, you know, things change and maybe some people go remote, or maybe they're remote. And so, you know, maybe there was an office. Yeah. And then they can grow or do whatever they need to do. So that's where we try to support people.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And for you, what do you think, like, as you're building it, right, you probably have people like on a list that are like waiting to come in, but like who are those like ideal people that you're like, we really want, like, as you're building this whole new community or constructing this new building? Yeah. Like, who is that community?
Yeah, it's everyone. There's no set, you know, target. And I think, you know, and that's what makes a community. It's all different walks of life. And, you know, how can we, if you have all the same company, then that's not really creating much of a community, you know. It's kind boring. It's kind of the same, right? So it's having insurance, you know, firms, having independent business consultants, having PR, having, you know, people are like construction and law firms and doing that kind of stuff, or like the remote worker, you know, engineer, like any architects, like any of those people that come in. And it's also it's a network for them too. So like how their business should grow, and they should be able to benefit off of that. And then if they can't, maybe it's a referral to somebody else that they know. And so it's just really creating that internal community network that it's cool. Like they can come in and they feel fulfilled. Yeah. Maybe you can make friendships out of it. And it's not that you don't love the people you work with, but maybe you just want to get away from them, and you can meet your friend at, go get a coffee or meet at the kitchen and
just hang out. And hang out. Who knows what things will come out of it too.
Exactly.
Like just by having collision space, which it sounds like you guys will have a lot of collision space.
We have a ton. Yeah. And we have a member kitchen, which obviously like a lot of relationships start, over food and things that you're doing. And so we have
proximity.
So we have the whole water fountain theory. Yeah. So we'll have the member kitchen. We have like a cafe area where people can get out and sit. We'll have a game room area that'll have
fun.
The chess, checker tables, board games. I mean, it's just kind of get out of your space and meet people, or just have fun with your coworkers and kind of get out of your work area and just,
go talk to somebody else.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Go for a walk around the park, right next to Kirk Park, and, just go hang out with people, go sit outside. We're also pet friendly. So you can bring your dog in and, have that kind, because I think working remote too, all of us are so used to having our dogs or animals or whatever. So that kind of gives you a companion in the space too.
Yeah. And you can't leave them at home if you're like you want to be like working all day somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you don't have to run home and let them out and do that kind of thing. They just get to come
and they get to make friends too.
Totally. And people love animals. So majority.
The ones that will be in the space are like, those kinds of people.
Down with it, and maybe they're not, and we maneuver through it. So so that's another cool thing.
That is cool. I have technical questions. So like with the space, like conference spaces, like you guys have like a kitchen, some of these collision office spaces. Like what are some of the other things, like if people are listening and they're like, oh, I'm in the Bozeman area, like I want to be, like what really, like all of those things and membership levels that we talked a little bit about it, right? So you have the hot desk, or like you could, if you have a 20-person team, call Carrie to get you that space.
Yeah, exactly. And then even, we get really creative too. So even if, your workspaces, you have more than like what one suite would offer, you can also get like a couple different other offices. So, if it's a company and you have different departments and you kind of want them working together, you can absolutely do that. So it just it's a lot of creative, a lot of flexibility. And then our membership levels too, you get credits. So the higher the membership is, the more credits you get. And those credits are used to book the podcast room, to book conference room. So that's an included cost. Printing services, like that's included in your membership as well.
Which is nice.
Yeah. So that makes it nice. Again, like the wellness room and other things that are happening. So those are some other cool things that we have going on.
And I imagine you'll have you talked about like something like once a week, right? At least. Like, are there other things that you're excited or working on for maybe like 2026 that you're like, oh, these events will be cool, or these like community gathering type thing?
Yeah. We're partnering like with companies like Scaling Montana. So doing like their monthly sessions that they do, and that'll be open to membership. And then, their members can come in to the space as well. Maybe it's working with United Way and having them come in and do some presentations and get access to a membership base that maybe wouldn't really know what's going on, but they get that exposure as well. Doing a float trip down the Madison River for members that we facilitate, a ski day, it's fun, but then it's, AI companies coming in and doing presentations and doing like offering consulting for small businesses that are trying to maneuver the whole world of AI and just kind of help people get set up that way and like set up processes and help with that. It's a business consultant who gets to network to other business people and being like, okay, here's how I can help you grow. Or, they bring in fun events and different things. So it's, opera work, right? Like, here's a charcuterie board, or here, like, let's celebrate a holiday, or just do something different. So that's what we do for
ugly
members.
Sweaters on whatever day.
Exactly. And I mean, some locations, even for Valentine's Day, had like make your own bouquet. And
that's cute.
There were so many people who were like, thank you for doing this, because they either forgot or it's like
probably a lot of the guys that are like, and like, did you forget something for your lady?
Yeah. I mean, maybe,
wink,
but
wink. Here you go.
Yeah, or make your own bouquet and like take it home for
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like we really try to do things like that, and then even after our community events. So we have some locations that are a lot bigger than ours will be that are doing like a farmer's market in their courtyard, or just doing cool stuff. Yeah, so we hope to be able to do the same thing. We'll have like a couple outdoor patio spaces and can do like fun barbecues and, just do stuff like different
summer
stuff.
Happy hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Work outside. Yeah. So we'll have the old loading dock of the Town and Country. We filled that in, and we have a glass garage door. So
that's awesome.
Open that in the summer, have people come outside. The cafe side, we'll have patio seating. So people from the public can hang out there too and, enjoy your coffee and just have a nice space to do it.
And do you have that coffee tenant yet? Or they're probably in the works?
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out still, and the cool thing is like it's turnkey. So it's not
it's ready to go.
It's not a revenue stream. It's not like we're like, oh, we're going to make a ton of money off of this. We're helping a local business.
And you're helping your membership.
And we're giving another amenity to our members. So that makes it cool too. Yeah. And even the meeting space, it's not a moneymaker. It's let's get community in and, help people out. Yeah. Yeah. And then help our members and like really create that cool environment for people.
And Kiln sounds like a good, like you're excited to be working for the organization, right? Because it's like they have all these processes and things in place, but they also give you as a location, like, here's this building and infrastructure, right? To run things, but like go forth and do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a framework, right? Like we want to do the member events, but every location is going to be different. No community is the same. And we're basically ran like our own business. So we have like they're all their own LLC, but it's like, it's still a community. You're a member of one. You have access to all. So it's keeping that consistency so that people come in and have like the expectation and have the same feel, but everybody gets to offer something different. So it's cool.
And for you as a director, like, do they have like things that like Kiln directors get to go to or like learn from, or like I don't know, like a Kiln team gathering or something?
Yep. There's a director's retreat every year that they do. And I think it's, we have like weekly meetings and just kind of get to bounce ideas off of each other. Everyone's trying to, learn and grow and everybody brings something different to the table. So we do that. We do a Kilns Giving where the whole company goes to like Park City and have like a big kind of Thanksgiving like family
fun.
event. We do another thing called Kiln Camp. And
Okay.
so we go out to Bear Lake, which is in like borders Utah and Idaho, and spend like 2 days there and like have fun activities and get to meet other people in the company. So it's, even though they're spread out, it's like they're still, you get to meet the people that you're talking to all the time and just really create those relationships as well. So it's fun. Yeah.
That is fun. And so you've kind of been in it since like before they even had a location picked, right?
No.
Or they had it?
They had the location picked, yeah. So, but I got hired on in November. And so I've then like really started on the location in February. So I've seen it from a completely emptied out, kind of dark building to like what it is currently, which is really cool. It's exciting to see it.
And so you're here just like getting like things kind of ready and placed to then. So when you guys open, you're like ready to.
Yeah, exactly. And we're signing members now. So we have a lot of people who are, signed up for our like 1 to 2 desk offices, club desks, larger spaces. So it's cool. Yeah. So anybody can start now. Like we can get you in and get you signed up. And then you get to pick your office and you get to pick your space and you kind of have like, not an edge, but after we open and businesses are coming in, right, they're going to have like set offices that they get to pick from. But it's cool.
Like they're like inaugural members.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're kind of like the first in.
Our founders.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have different, better rate structures, when this airs will already be open, but it's cool to kind of have that set up. So it's open seats. You get to come into a super cool environment. Like it's just every day it's something different. So it's tiles going in the bathroom. It's the white oak flooring going in.
That's
it's
pretty.
All of the skylights are punched out. So you just get all this natural light because we don't have lights in the building yet. So it's just cool stuff. Building staircases, putting in fireplaces.
And then once you add the furniture and like decor, then you're like,
it's gonna
this is like, you're like, wow, here we are.
I'm very excited to get to that stage because even seeing it from the framing to what it is now, it's so cool.
And then it moves kind of quick. I feel like once you start painting and doing all of that, like because we renovated a building in Billings downtown, and it's just fun once you kind of get past the like framing and doing that. Then you're like,
it seems like it takes. Yeah, and they basically did an internal complete demo. So the HVAC units are brand new, electric's brand new, the plumbing's brand new, but it was really important to keep the integrity of the building. It's just been such a staple in Bozeman. So even though the outside looks different, it's still the town and country.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be like, here's where the loading dock used to be. That's why these ceilings are so high. And like, here's where the deli was. And here's where the refrigeration was, because this was a grocery store that I grew up going into. Yeah. So it's just neat to kind of come back full circle. So it's really cool.
And that they didn't just rip it down.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
kept it and they're like, oh, no, we can do something.
Exactly.
Like this.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then there's only a couple buildings that we've done that with. So our one that's opening in Holiday, Utah was like an old mall that just kind of been abandoned for a long time. So like they took that structure over. Park City was an old bowling alley.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's like you're keeping a piece of your community, right? And you're just like, we're going to make it work and it's going to have a little bit more character.
Exactly.
Not that new buildings don't, but a new build, you can do whatever you want. Like the old ones, you have to figure out like the loading dock and why are these ceilings so tall? Like how do you
exactly. And then the second floor where the administration offices are, like that's more offices, but it's like we put in so many windows and everything up there. Like it's just so much natural light, which is also like a big thing with Kiln too. And there's just plants everywhere. So it's greenery. It's, pops of color. Like it's just really fun. It's a fun environment to come into. So it's cool.
And it's like bringing together your like background of community, hospitality. And I think, for Bozeman, but also Montana, like why does this just like, because you're very excited and passionate. I'm excited. I'm like, when are you opening? I'm coming back over. So
exactly.
I'll be back in Bozeman.
Yes,
but I think it's just an exciting thing for the community to have, right? Yeah. But like not just Bozeman, but the state of Montana.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, I always say Montana's a club. It's not a state. And so it's, I think it was important too. Like I'm a Montana native and there aren't a lot of us, especially in Bozeman, which is just how things progress. And, a lot of people in Montana leave and, whatever else happens. And so
sometimes they come back.
Yeah, we come back. I never want, I love Montana. So as long as I can stay here, I will. But yeah, it's just for me, this is just like my walk of life. So it's bringing in all these different people and it's like knowing, having a community in Bozeman already, even though I hadn't lived here for a long time, and just having those connections, which really roots in hotels as well. So it's knowing people in Helena and here and Billings and Missoula and being like, hey, when you're coming through, just come see it, come see the space. And it's just, some locations you have to be a member to get through the door. And that's just not how we are. And then members also have 24/7 access to the space. Like
Which is so nice.
This is just as much your working area as it is ours. And so we want to make sure people can access it. So you're paying for it, use it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And I think because some people have weird hours, like
Totally.
they're like night owls or they're like early morning,
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm not here during
Yeah.
like,
Or they
some of
have,
the day.
you know, company, like part of their company is in like India or the UK, or, you know, when I was in Malaysia, in Montana, it's a 14-hour time difference. So it was just like really trying to figure out that workspace as well. I mean, we had an Airbnb, so we just did our calls from there. But
even like the East Coast is different. I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like, you know, talking about ClassPass, having all
Yeah.
those locations, like sometimes
Yeah.
it's just critical to be in those time zones.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
that's your client.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's, you know, you don't have to take your call with a whole family in the background, which everyone's used to now, or like your dog's barking.
Yeah.
But if you can go into a professional setting and have that there, it just gives you, I think, more confidence. And then there's less distractions and you get to kind of be in a quiet space and then get to see everybody come in and you have that whole experience.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
And for Bozeman, I imagine they're all really excited, right? Like the community's excited to have
Yeah.
Kiln. Like if you have membership, like people already signing up for
Yeah.
memberships and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this concept is new. So I think we're getting Bozeman warmed up to it, but being able to be like, no, come into the space and see it. Like people were great, even when it was framed. So if like it was either people had been in another kiln or familiar with co-working and they were just like, yeah, sign me up. This sounds great. And then there's some people where it's, we got to prove the concept and that's totally fine too.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is great. I think people are really curious, which is awesome. And I think we now have a product to show where it's like, this is what your bathroom's going to look like, right?
Yeah.
Like
This is what your
Yeah.
meeting space is going to look like for
Yeah.
your meetings. Like how exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like, here's the kitchen, here's the cafe,
Well, and you guys
here's the
have
podcast room.
MSU too, which I
Yeah.
think for those students I think what's cool about, I mean, Bozeman specifically, you have a lot of research and
Yeah.
development happening too. So you have startups that
Totally.
need some of this space. And then
Yeah.
like when you have collision space happening, like who knows what cool things can happen from that.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're trying to we are working with the Gallatin College from like a hospitality program.
Cool.
Get some interns in, right? Like we're trying to maneuver through that process right now. But that's also really important is like, okay, you're a business major. This is a job. Because for me, honestly, it was so broad. It wasn't like, I'm going to be an accountant.
Yeah.
I knew that was not my strong suit. I'm not going to be a financial planner. So sometimes it's
It's
management
like
and marketing.
HR. And I'm like, I was like, oh, maybe like HR. And I'm like, then I've learned actually what HR was. And I was like, oh, absolutely not for me.
Yeah, it's
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, you get into it and you're like, now what? Like it's,
But that's an option, right?
Yeah.
And they could take hospitality,
Yep.
business experience.
Yeah.
And they get like, even who knows, they can meet a future employer in there,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Too.
Yeah,
But it's
totally.
like they're also getting to learn how to manage a community. and
Right.
Learning some hospitality skills
Yeah.
and some of those things
Yeah,
by just being in the space.
totally. And like people can figure it out. Maybe you like one aspect of hospitality and not the other. Or maybe one day you're starting a tech company and doing something totally different.
Or going to
and-
culinary school.
Or going to culinary
Which I'm like, do you still like to cook? I do have to ask.
Yeah,
that.
no, I do. I think it's hard with the toddler. It's like,
Uh-huh.
it's just efficiency, right? And it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays. Those are kind of more where that pops out a little bit. But yeah, I love it. And like when I was going to culinary school, the kind of running joke was I barely made boxed mac and cheese. Like
Like I'm in school all day. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I didn't even really do that. And then it's like, then I go to culinary school and it's just like a love. It's fun. It's like a passion project. It's going into restaurants and being like, oh no, I totally know what you're talking about, or talking to chefs and like, they're just so passionate. And so it's just
Well,
really
you have that
fun.
background, which is fun.
Yeah.
And like really unique.
Yeah, it's different for sure.
And I think your members like will have such value from you too, because like you just have like a really like thoughtful, whether you knew it during the time or
Yeah,
not, but
thank
like
you.
your experience is so
Yeah.
like vast of
Yes.
hospitality
Yeah.
to working for tech startups. You have all
Yeah.
these skills
Yeah.
that will be such a value add as you're building your kiln.
Yeah,
community.
in a call center, it's like, that was the wildest part. I think that's the most,
Yeah.
that was a huge learning curve, but it was awesome. And like, I know all about offshore BPOs and inshore and like how, like CSAT scores and how they're just constantly evolving. And Instacart was really big. Like, obviously there's shoppers, there's members, like, that people are doing that. And so it was really important for them to understand from all sides of the business, like, how is this impacting you? How did this impact change? What feedback do you have for us? Like, what do you love about it? And people are really passionate about buying groceries for other people, and it's great, and
Which is it is great. It's a company.
yeah, exactly. And they want to do a good job for the people that they're shopping for. And so the produce is really important. And because I think that's a lot of times, people are like,
That's why they're skeptical. They're like, I want to pick out my apple.
I want to pick my banana. But then when you're shopping.
Which I do, because I'm like very particular. And like, I'll say to my husband, I'm like, Austin, we know what kinds of bananas Marcel likes. We don't want them too yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, my husband's like a little more green, and then so they can turn yellow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so but the shoppers will be like, no, like what kind of tomatoes do you want? What kind of this do you want? Like they just kind of go above and beyond and do
the hospitality.
Exactly. Yeah, and they get to do it at their own pace, and they they're actually compensated really well for compared to like Uber and DoorDash and those kinds of things. And it was really cool just to learn that there's not a huge profit margin for grocery stores, and so coming in, you don't want to try to take so much away from that they're losing money. Like that's not the point. That's not the partnership. So it was really cool to see that kind of process. And then you're like, and Kiln's very similar. Even when your agreement term is up, we're not going to price gouge because maybe there's a wait list for your size of office. It's like maybe a 3 to 5% increase just to cover overhead. And sometimes there might not be an increase. And that's like the totally cool part. It's that it's not, no one's in it to try to like game the system,
you're not,
right?
like making gobs and gods. Yeah, it's like you're doing something. You're providing a service and a space for community.
Exactly. Yeah, like even with the meeting space, someone asked, which was a really great question, is do you do dynamic credits, which is what ClassPass did, and I was automatically able to understand. I was like, no, like that conference room is 2 credits, like that is it. Podcast room, 2 credits. Like we're not gonna be like, oh, there's so much demand. Now we're going to charge you 5, so that you have to buy more credits that month. So that's just not the business model.
Which is nice because I think it'll help with member retention too.
Exactly. Yeah. You get, and it's, you're not fighting for the space, and it's, there's phone booths. If you need to take a call, you can. We'll have 15 of those in the space.
That's a lot because those are like pricey little things.
Yeah.
But they're really nice because we have one, and I was like, but they're really nice.
Yeah. And we fabricate all of our own. So we have them from like, we designed them and did everything for them, right? Like we're fabricating a steel staircase. So it's like we designed it and did everything. And so they're making it, it's just cool stuff like that. And like our front desk, it's all like hand welded steel.
Wow.
And it's just really intentional. So it's cool.
That is nice. So now you're in Ennis though.
Yes.
So like you're doing Kiln here in Bozeman.
Yeah.
How far is that drive from Ennis for those that don't know?
Yeah. It's a 45-mile drive.
Bad.
No, it's, Montana, a mile equates to a minute.
Yeah. I'm like, where you actually go as far as,
Yeah. I mean, the next city you go to is, 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away, an hour away. So it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. And my son goes to daycare in Four Corners. So I was here anyway. So it just makes sense. And, it's just another opportunity to kind of do that. So.
And are you happy to be back? Like because now it's kind of like full circle. You're back to Ennis.
Yeah. I never thought that was going to happen. That was never on my radar. But, I tell people love is real, and you do things because of love. And my stepdaughter was going to school in Ennis already. So it was just like a no-brainer. It was just really weird.
And you're from there.
Yeah.
So it's like, back home a little bit.
Yeah. And that never did I ever anticipate that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm never coming back. It was just, why would that ever happen? Yeah. And so it's cool. And then I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Ennis.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I'm in leadership Bozeman. It's just kind of creating those natural relationships again where it's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's
nice.
fun.
Yeah. It is fun. You get to meet different people and it's, I think sometimes a lot of Montanans are very skeptical about outside people coming in, and I just really embrace it because that's how that's how you thrive, and that's how you continue to grow and your community is successful. So everyone's welcome.
Montana, I'm like Montana's still like barely over 1 million.
Yeah,
so it's not like our population's huge, but I would say I feel like people coming into Montana, they like fit.
Yeah,
like you're not getting certain people that I'm like want to be in a big city environment, like because Montana is not that. You will not find like those experience. I mean, that density you're not going to find.
It's not
like
a city
we're
of 1 million people. It's we're a city
state.
of 55,000 people, and then the suburbs make it 70,000.
And we have way more cows still than people. Yes. And I think that so that's not for everybody.
No,
right?
but I think and we take it for granted, right? Like in Ennis right now, there's moose everywhere.
Yeah,
and they're more of a nuisance, or you're more like, oh, this is a giant animal. I kind of want to stay inside. And you just forget that is just something that someone hasn't seen before, and that they want to be in the outdoors. We didn't have that in Eastern Montana. But like, I was prairie dogs, ecolac prairie dogs.
And like we sometimes had a mountain lion. Sometimes you'll see a random elk.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Well, it's like, in my development, it's called Pronghorn Meadows because there's antelope everywhere, right? And then there's like a herd of elk that are across in like the farmland, and
This is normal life.
and you're running into a moose and a deer. So
My gosh.
sometimes a bear. I saw a bear last year.
Oh, wow.
Like a black bear running through, a badger,
And you're like, day in the life, day in the life.
Exactly. You're like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think the outdoors and just the lifestyle, which is actually what Kiln follows as well, is like, outdoorsy, cultural kind of like, they never go into like the dense areas. So like we're in Las Vegas, but it's not on the strip, or like you can see the strip, but it's in a different neighborhood.
Yep.
And that's really where it thrives, so it's cool.
Well, Carrie, it's been really fun to talk to you and hear your story and hear about Kiln. If people like want to learn more about like website, social, Kiln Bozeman.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things. I think the easiest is kiln.com. And then from there, you can look at the different communities and you can book a tour. You can request meeting space. Like you can do all sorts of things there.
They can find you probably on that website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then any information or email they put in comes straight to me. And so,
awesome.
and then we have a team. It'll come to team members as well. So it's really cool. And then I can't work out of the site right now. So I hang out at 406 a lot, which I'll plug them. They're great. And it's only like 4 minutes away from the site. So even if someone books or wants to get in like short term, if I have the time, I just pop on over and give people a tour. So it's fun.
And you'll be open soon.
Yeah, next month.
Yeah,
so,
which is exciting.
Yeah, so we're looking, it'll be like the week of the 14th to the 20th. So
November.
Of October.
Right? Or October.
October.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I was like, what month is it now? September. Okay, October.
Yeah,
Fun.
so it's soon. Yeah, like 5 weeks from now we'll be up and running. So it's cool.
That's exciting. Well, I'll come back.
Yeah, no, yeah, everybody come back.
I'm gonna come record a podcast in your studio.
Heck yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then anyone who wants to come in. Like you don't have to have an appointment. There's a coffee shop. Someone there. Yeah, there's a coffee shop. Yeah, so the public has access. You can work out of that little cafe area, and if you want a tour, we'll take you on a tour. And it's just awesome. Even if you're just curious, like come on in. So
just come check out like the Spanish tiling. I'm like curious.
Exactly.
I'm like, where's this going to be? And the black and white scheme and pops of color.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like at the women's bathroom, it has kind of like this dusty rose kind of orange color. The men's restroom is like a dark blue. The shower we have is like this awesome green color. Kitchen and everything, it's kind of like that blue-green theme. So it's just, it's cool. Yeah, black tile. It's awesome.
Can't wait. Well, thanks, Carrie. It's been fun.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for listening to The Vault. Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway or Instagram at The Vault_201. Or check us out on our website, thevault@201.com, where you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. See you next time.